on the camera too. Either way, we have fallback options, unlike the Broncos, who have no fallback options on anything.
They're
We
in it
take
to
our
win it.
in it to win it, in it to win it. Yeah.
No matter what.
Oh, no matter what, man, no matter what. Here we go. Let's let everybody in for just a second. Get these eyeballs on camera. And here we go, Broncos country. It is Wednesday night in the Mile High City, which means it's time for MHI. Thomas Hall, Luke Patterson, Scott Kennedy in the house. What's going on, Tom? We knew what was going to happen last Sunday. 16 consecutive games. Kansas City Chiefs. They
Yep.
do own the Denver Broncos. We're getting into some Chiefs leftovers. We're going to talk Green Bay. We're going to talk about the meet and greet this Sunday here in Denver, Colorado, and so much more. But before we do, how was your weekend, Tom? Was it nice to enjoy a weekend without Broncos disappointment? We just ripped that Band-Aid off early on Thursday, baby.
Yeah, it was. It was nice. We went on a little mini vacation, took a couple days off, so it was nice not have to worry about watching the Broncos stink it up on Sunday. So we saw it on Thursday instead. Although it wasn't as bad of a beatdown as I thought it was going to be. So I guess there's
Does that make it better?
That.
Does that make it better? Because I saw that too, and I see it on social media. And the reason I bring it up, Broncos country, and before we do, let's say hello to some of the folks in the chat, because we have folks, as you know, Tom, like David, coming in before the show even starts, firing away, saying the Broncos need to draft a quarterback. And we're going to talk about drafting a potential quarterback, what Russell Wilson's future looks like. Contract, right? Money, dollars. Broncos country's freaking out about that. How and if the Broncos can move away from Russell Wilson. We will talk to you about that and more in this show. But I wanted to get to Bobby too. Bobby came in here real quick saying no one's talking about the offensive line. No one's talking about some of the other problems, including the defense, the offensive coordinator. And I'll be honest, Bobby, I forget we have an offensive coordinator. And that's a damn shame, because it is not easy to get hired in the National Football League. And I'm sure it's not easy being not distant, but what, the grandson of some coach named Lombardi, in which the Super Bowl trophy is named after. I honestly forget that Coach Lombardi is an offensive coordinator until he comes to the microphone. What, on Thursdays we hear from coordinators? I mean, this is silly, Tom. There are other problems, yes, but the buck ultimately stops with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton.
Well, yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson's an easy target. Everybody loves to jump on him, but yeah, I mean, there's a multitude of problems across the entire team. I mean, it's the defense, it's the offensive line looks bad, the contracts given out. I mean, disgruntled players. I mean, you've got problems across the board. Russell Wilson may not be the solution that everybody thinks he should be, but he's not a problem. His play, he wasn't very good last week, but for the most part, he's been playing pretty well. So he's an easy target, but there are a lot of issues to address. And one of them being the actual play call of Sean Payton himself has been pretty poor, I think, the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, coaches talked about that a little bit, right? Talking about accountability and how he needs to do things better. But that sounds good into a microphone the first few weeks. And after that, when you're not seeing the changes, it just becomes stale. A lot like the play, and you've talked about it. We talk about it every week, Tom. These players don't know how to win. I mean, so what? You beat the Chicago Bears, a more pathetic team than you, and you're in the race for last place. That's where things are at. It makes it tough for Broncos country to want to show up and show out. And one thing I would encourage Broncos country to do, if you want to see truly how bad this team is, because I think some folks are ignorant. I think some folks fall for the spin. I think some folks just like to bury their head in the ground. I'd head on over to milehighhuddle.com in the near future. Our very own Dylan Von Narks does his weekly power rankings article. And Dylan weighing in here real quick saying, what up, Broncos country? Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Please share on all platforms and subscribe if you have not done so already. Dylan's one of our guys, man. He grinds away every week just like us, Tom, and I encourage everybody to go read about those weekly power ranking articles. And speaking of powering away, man, David is always powering away with us on this podcast, the generous $2 super. Good evening, Broncos country. Looking forward, MG. Meet and greet.
Yeah,
that's what it is. David, Big Dog, coming to the meet and greet. Tom, what can you tell us about what is going down at Mile High Huddle's tent this Sunday in Denver, Colorado.
All your favorite podcasters will be there for sure. I mean, if you have a favorite, if you don't, just come by and talk to us. I think every single podcaster is going to be there. We're going to be in Lot E, big Mile High Huddle tent with Mile High Huddle flags. Probably going to be doing a podcast, I would imagine, there live. So if last time the fans got to be, some of the fans got to be on the podcast, giving out their predictions and whatnot. So yeah, join us. We'll be there at 11 a.m. tailgating in parking lot E. So it'll be fun.
Hell yeah. Come on out to the Mile High City. Spoiler alert. For my keys to victory this week, I actually have something to do with the meet and greet, and how the meet and greet this week for Mile High Huddle, well, maybe we can help the Denver Broncos against those Green Bay Packers coming to town on Sunday. Again, that is at 11 a.m. Parking lot E as in Echo. Look for the big MHH blue tent. Chad's also going to be having some MHH flags flying. And we want to see all your MHH gear. David, I want to see your Buckham shirt, man. It's really cool, David. I was thinking about you. My daughter's volleyball team this season is orange, so they're naturally named the Orange Crush. And every Saturday I wear my Buckham orange t-shirt because it's tough to wear Broncos gear. It's always easy to wear MHH gear. So, David, we appreciate your support. Again, the meet and greet is going to be fun. Scott's going to be out there too, right? Nick, my old partner, that guy Carl, right? I love my guy Carl. We used to host some shows together. Lance, Eric will be out there, Chad and Zach. It's a really cool experience, Tom. You can speak on that a little bit more than me. This will be my first meet and greet. I'm looking forward to it, man. We get to rub elbows with Broncos country out at training camp, and you and I did that all summer, and it was a fantastic, man. It's so cool to be a part of a family, to be a part of a team and this MHH community. And folks are flying from all over the country, not just our hosts, not just our staff writers, not just our draft analysts, but our MHH community, Tom. They make the drive, they make the flights. That's humbling and impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, it's always fun to look forward to. I mean, last year was fun. A lot of people that I see on here in the comments, I got a chance to talk to them and meet them in person. So it was fun. It was good. It's always enjoyable. It's a couple hours of just talking football if you want, or anything. You don't even talk football if you don't want to. So.
Well, and that's just it, man. Nobody's here big time in anybody. Come say hello. Come, I'm sure there are going to be some cold pops flowing around. Come debate us. Come laugh with us. Let's enjoy life together this Sunday here in Denver, Colorado, as the Broncos take on the Green Bay Packers. It's Kevin Gray, man. Kevin's always active in here. He's supporting Dylan, our guy, one of our very own. I love to give guys and gals all the support in the world and truly try to give it back. Just some Chiefs leftovers real quick. I get that some folks are saying, well, Vance Joseph's defense, it did look a lot better. Look, the Chiefs are working some kinks out. And one of my takeaways, Tom, after that game was, did you guys forget about Travis Kelce? How do you forget about Travis Kelce? The middle of the field has been open for the last 6 weeks. And again, one of my keys coming out this Friday, the Packers have a very talented rookie named Luke Musgrave. And I think people are going to get to know that name because Vance Joseph, I can't figure it out, Tom. The middle of the field is wide open. Cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. It does not matter. It's almost like you're dealing with D linemen who have zero gap control, zero integrity to stay in their area. That's what we're talking about with some of these zone coverages. I mean, in the man coverage, don't even get me started because Travis Kelce absolutely shredded this defense. It's disgusting. I don't know how you don't account for Travis Kelce. Shouldn't he been the number one priority?
You would think so. I mean, Travis Kelce gets his yards. I mean, it's hard to stop him, but he looked like it was pretty easy out there for sure. And, everybody's like, oh, Vance Joseph made up for all this. No, he didn't. The defense had an okay game. I don't think Kansas City played very well and on offense, but you still have to, see that Mahomes still threw for over 300 yards. Kelce went over for over 100. I mean, it wasn't like this defense was all of a sudden, return of the Orange Crush or anything. So Vance Joseph's still on the hot seat after that as well. But They didn't score 70 points, so I guess that's a win. I don't know. It was awful all around. It was
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, what do we want to give them effort for not quitting? I mean, for not rolling over? No, you
yeah,
quit in Miami, and now you want brownie points for not quitting in Kansas City, who, by the way, comes to Denver a week from Sunday. I mean, give me a break. David
yeah.
coming back in, another generous $2. I think the GOAT GLP is coming with David. A couple of goats
Nice.
making the haul from Yuma, Arizona tomorrow. Man, David, that made my day, man. I literally got goosebumps. I can't wait to meet you, man. It's going to be so much fun. Gary is a Hall of Famer here at MHH, just like David, man. They never miss a show. Our guy Michael Ronquillo is the same way. We have so many guys and gals that I can't thank enough. And if I can just spend a few minutes of your day on Sunday, like talking Broncos football, talking how we get this team together, I'd really appreciate it, man. It's more for us than it is for y'all, because we just want to meet you. We want to give back to you guys. We want to thank our community for giving us this platform. So, David, it truly, man, it kind of touches me that folks are making the trip, man. They're making the long haul, Tom, and that's just that's a testament to this Broncos country being diehard.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait. I mean, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, and then go see the game after if you want. Go check it out. Go go cheer for the Broncos and hopefully
Hang
you
with
get a
us
victory.
and hang with us too,
Yeah,
Tom. That's a good point. You don't need tickets to come to this event, guys. That's just it. And we're not charging. Come hang out with us.
that's right.
This is it. It's Lot E. E is in Echo this Sunday at 11 a.m. at Empower Field at Mile High. Naj Althoff, man, another one of those guys. I was just talking about all of our friends and family that are with us nonstop every Wednesday night. 1999 Super, very generous, Naj. I hope that you and your family are doing well, man. It's spooky season, Halloween, right? So kids are starting to figure out their Halloween costumes. The seasons are changing. Hopefully you and yours are well. Hey, brothers, I appreciate Payton's press conference today. He seems maybe a little bit humbled. He took ownership of needing to improve. We'll see how this team responds and if the locker room is with him. I'll see you, bros, on Saturday.
Right on.
Nosh, another one, man. Nosh was with us Saturdays, man, when Nick Kindle and I first kicked this show off. Now Thomas is on Saturdays. Catch Thomas and Ron White every Saturday at 6 p.m. Mountain for Orange and Blue View. And then don't forget Thomas on Friday morning for Legends also. Naj, I can't wait to meet you, man. This has been years in the making. Look, Sean Payton, what can Sean Payton say, Tom, to win Broncos country back over? Because while Naj can appreciate a little bit of humility, he ultimately is like the rest of Broncos country and wants to see a win. This Broncos football team, as we all know, is winless in the Mile High City. They do not win football games at home. When will we see that change, Tom?
Well, hopefully this Sunday. But yeah, there's nothing he can say. He's talked all off season. He's talked as much as he can, and he just needs wins. That's it. I mean, this team needs to start winning. He can't say anything else. I mean, yeah, he can come out and say he's humbled or whatever, or act like he is. But the proof is in the pudding. It has to happen on the field, and he can come out and say what he wants. But if he can't get this team ready on Sundays to go out there and win football games, then there's nothing else he can't say anything, can't do anything. He can trade away every player he wants. If it doesn't equate to wins, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And let's be honest, Sean Payton, he is like a lot of other NFL veteran coaches that likes to posture. Just like I believe, I'm speculating, he was posturing last week when he kind of shut down the rumors of the trades, right? Well, no, we love all our guys. We're good. I mean, if the phone rings, I can't help the phone from ringing. Sean Payton's not like that. Sean Payton loves to move in silence. I know that's weird, but he doesn't like to reveal what he wants to do. He's almost paranoid like Mike Shanahan was. I've been told that from people that are in that building, and that's a good thing. That's why I wanted him here. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, coach has to have all the control. At that same point, you have to take all the ownership, and the fan base, they're split a little bit because they were promised this quarterback guru who was going to come in, whisper to Russ, and things would magically be fixed. But I guess we all forgot that football is a team sport. and the defense, the offensive line, as our folks are pointing out in the chat here tonight, special teams has had its issues. I mean, a culture change doesn't happen overnight, Tom. But if I'm being honest, I'm not sure that it's even started. And we're what, 6 weeks into the regular season with 12 weeks left to go. That is a problem right now. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we're hearing all these reports of Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Pat Surtain on the trade block. Go read about it over at milehighhuddle.com. Keith's got an article up right now talking about Pat Surtain saying he wants to be a Bronco for life. Will he? Time will tell. Tom, what do you make of all these trade rumors? Because I woke up this morning and my guy Stokes popping off on Twitter. I love it, right? Birds of a feather. And I retweet one of Stokes' tweets. I'm like, when is it going to happen? If anything's going to happen, it should have happened earlier in the week, considering we're already on an MHI Wednesday. Transactions usually happen Monday and Tuesday, right? So when do you expect the Broncos to start making trades? Actual trades, not just pennies on the dollar for a 7th round or releasing a veteran edge rusher.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was going to already happen. I mean, it's 1-5. You're not making any moves. Like, it was funny because I get to go on Whiteley So with Gil Whiteley every couple weeks or so, and I asked him the same question. I'm like, when is this going to happen? Do they think that they're still contenders here? I mean, why not start ripping the Band-Aid off now? Like, get something for these guys, see what you can get. I mean, you don't have to wait till October 31st to do this. You can do it now when teams are, unless they're just waiting, right? Unless they're just waiting to see someone gets injured, they maybe can get a little bit more for one of their players, if somebody's desperate. I'm not sure why they're waiting. They don't have to wait. But this team's not going to, I know there's some talk about, that they still think that they can turn this thing around. That's bull. They're not turning. If they make it to the playoffs this year, I'll do a podcast with nothing but my cowboy hat on.
And
it's
listen,
not happening.
The only people that are saying that are the people that are employed by the team. You're listening to the wrong station, folks. If you want truth, change the station and come on over to MHH, where we have podcasts every single night. Not only that, we've got morning shows, we've got weekend shows. We have you covered. And look, we tell the truth here. We're not affiliated with the team. We love this team. We love this game. But it's one of the reasons I don't wear Broncos stuff, Tom. And I know it pisses a lot of people off in this world. How can you not love the team that or represent the team that you say that you cover? I'm trying to be objective, but if I'm being honest as a fan, it's hard to wear Broncos stuff anyway. I mean, kids aren't wearing Russell Wilson jerseys to school on Friday mornings. Okay. I'd be shocked if they knew go ahead, take these coffee polls, where you walk into a coffee shop. Some media members do it in Denver all the time, right? And they're like, hey, who do the Broncos play this week? Oh, I don't know. I checked out in week 3. I mean, that's where things are at. I saw paper bags over Broncos country's heads at the Kansas City Chiefs games. I told you that was coming. Tom, you told them that was coming. I mean, this is a new low that we are seeing, and every week the question is asked, have the Broncos hit rock bottom? Have the Broncos hit rock bottom? And the answer is no, and it's going to be no until that final game is played in January. That's where we're at. Speaking of January, December, again, friendly reminder, Jerry Jeudy has not caught a touchdown since last season. Tom, I have to ask you because it was big doings. We haven't talked. You went on a mini vacation. I bought a puppy. The weekend was crazy. What'd you make of Jerry Jeudy versus Steve Smith Sr. on the pregame coverage Thursday Night Football? That headline kind of stole the show a little bit more than the game and even Taylor Swift.
I'll tell you, man, I tweeted out it's 0 touchdowns so far for Jerry Jeudy, but 3 arguments or feuds with legends. Now it's spilling over outside of Mile High. It's now into Carolina. It's like, come on. Whatever happened, whatever happens. I don't care, right? If they want to have a little spat, fine. The problem is Jerry Jeudy can't back up anything on the field this year. He, like I said earlier, there's running backs with more touchdowns receiving than he has, right? And, it's if you're going to pop off and you're going to strut by the camera, acting all big and talking, go out there on the field and make it happen. In fact, I would rather you not even talk and go out there and say, Steve Smith, here you go. Here's 120 and on 10 catches, take that, kind of thing, and a couple touchdowns. But instead, he was pretty much invisible most of the night. So it's just getting
100%.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
100%. And guys, I see you in the chat, and we're gonna work on that. And I do apologize, Phil McLaughlin, Michael Ronquillo. Happy belated birthday, Michael. Let us know how your birthday was in the comment section. And Phil, you're another man. You're a dog that's absolutely showing up and showing out for every one of our MHI shows every Wednesday and every other podcast that we do every night. So we see you in the comment section. We're gonna keep pulling you up. Bear with us with the Facebook stars. We appreciate your generous donations. If the Facebook stars are giving you hell, don't want to work with Facebook, switch on over to YouTube. Super chats are rolling right now, so I do apologize for that. Here's my thing with Jerry Jeudy and Steve Smith Sr. Why do we get so hurt over words these days? I mean, I say we because, right, I'm a man, you're a man, Jerry Judy's a man, Steve. We as grown men, we have egos, we have pride, and sometimes that we need to be humbled a little bit. And sometimes the truth hurts. And I think that's when feelings are genuinely shown. I mean, so what? Steve Smith called Jerry Jeudy a jag, just another guy. Do you know that Steve Smith could have described Jerry Jeudy in worse ways than just a jag? A jag? That's going to put you sideways. That's going to make you madder than a wet hen. And here's the problem I have with Jerry Jeudy. If you're going to talk junk to Steve Smith, do it to his face. Don't do it behind his back while he's on live TV because, Tom, you know better than I do, man. You probably watched Steve Smith a little more than I did as a young buck. He was a dog, and he would fight you, and he fought for every inch and every scrap of anything that man has ever earned. And if you want to pop off and you want to disrespect, you have that right. We live in a free country, thank goodness. However, be ready to back that up. And you lay that egg in Kansas City. I mean, it's getting ridiculous when the storyline is dysfunction palooza. And that I put on Sean Payton, Tom. Why is Sean Payton allowing Jerry Jeudy to control this football team? There are zero leaders on this football team, but it's pretty clear who's in charge of this football team. It's Jerry Jeudy. He gets to do whatever he wants, Tom. He doesn't have to produce on the field. He gets to say whatever he wants on social media without any ramifications. He gets to pick fights with legends. I don't think any fines or anything like that have come out for using an expletive curse word, right? Or allegedly. I mean, this is a bad look for a guy who has done jack squat in the NFL, yet he has the run of the room. He has the run of the roost, and I just can't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, my only thought on that is they know that they're going to trade him. So they're like, whatever. They're just kind of like, we're not going to reel this guy in because he's going to be someone else's issue or whatever, or someone else going to have to deal with it. That's the only thing I can think of. Or Sean Payton is not a very good leader. Those are your two options because what else could it be? Like if you come out and you say that we're going to be focused on winning, we're going to be focused on football, then this would have been nipped in the bud after the first comment that happened, a couple weeks ago with Philip Lindsay, or it wouldn't have happened at all. One of those two things, but it did, and it's continuing to happen. So the options are those. It's either Sean Payton is not good enough as a leader to keep different personalities focused, right? Focused on the goal, or they don't care anymore. Both of them are bad.
Right. Well, and how much does that kind of thing turn off other teams? I mean, I get it. Teams in the NFL, this is not the Boy Scout League. Teams will pick up a player if you can help them win. It doesn't matter what kind of person you are. It doesn't matter your morals. It doesn't matter if you have a criminal record, substance. None of it matters. And history litters that and supports that fact. It just, man, I'm so tired of it, Tom. It's dysfunction palooza, and it just doesn't seem like Sean Payton has any control of this team. This team is the Denver Broncos. They are taking on the Green Bay Packers this Sunday. Let's talk about the injury report today, Tom. Guys that practice, Justin Simmons with a hip, he was limited. Kareem Jackson with a neck, he was limited. Baron Browning was full, again, dealing with a knee/wrist. Lloyd Cushenberry, quad, he was a full participant. DJ Jones with a knee, full participant. Greg Dulcich did not practice with a hamstring injury. Tom, there's some whispers out there on social media right now that the Broncos are considering moving Greg Dulcich back to IR. What do you make of this Greg Dulcich thing? Did they bring it back too early? I mean, it was a hamstring issue last year, a different hamstring issue this year, the same hamstring issue a week later. What's going on with the hamstrings? I thought we changed athletic staff and no more hamstring issues would ever plague the Broncos again.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to move on from him. He's just not available. So he was a promising young player, but he's never available. So they're gonna need to address tight end. I mean, among the many other position groups they have to address, now they got to address tight end. Even though, as a analyst and a fan looking at that tight end group earlier, I thought, yeah, Dulcich is going to be a pretty good player, but he's just never available. So they're going to have to, I imagine they're going to have to go to the well, they're going to have to go draft another tight end. I was surprised they didn't. I was hoping that they would, because Troutman's not it. I mean, I thought he was going to have a pretty okay season, but he looks completely unmotivated out there for some reason. He just doesn't seem to have any fight in him. So, the Broncos are just they're having a rough time in many position groups. But yeah, Dulcich to me is one of those guys who's going to bounce around the league a couple times and then he's going to retire because he just can't stay healthy.
Well, he fits right in with the rest of the Broncos tight ends who we continue to look for life post to Julius Thomas. Even, I mean, I struggle, Tom, because it seemed like forever you had guys like Jake Butt and all these Big Ten tight ends that would get drafted and spend their whole Bronco career in the injury room, right?
Yep.
And I think I even saw, I don't know if it was Jake Butt. It was another a former Bronco. It was a Big Ten Bronco that was drafted. He's doing college analyst work right now. I saw on social media. I wish I could remember the name, but it's just to your point. I mean, it's a revolving door. Let's talk offensive line a little bit. Mike McGlinchey, man. I mean, look, I get Mike McGlinchey's been a disappointment, but when you are the highest paid right tackle in franchise history, and this is the kind of performance that you're putting out there on a weekly basis, I have problems with it. And I think Broncos country is quick to try to see the other side of the coin, right? Try to look for something glass half full versus half empty. And well, what about Ben Powers? I got to be honest, Tom. Ben Powers isn't doing these great things either. He's not looking as bad as Mike McGlinchey because sometimes you can camouflage those things, as you well know, on the interior side of the offensive line. But talk to me about this free agent spending spree that Sean Payton went on with Greg Penner's money. It doesn't seem like it's paying out 6 games in.
I'll tell you, I think I've liked what Ben Powers has been putting together lately. I think he's improved. I think he's got a future with the team. Mike McGlinchey, on the other hand, he's been poor in passing game and running game. It doesn't matter. Either one. It seems like he's always making some sort of mistake out there and leading to something negative. So I have not been happy so far with the amount of money that they spent, the acquisitions that they made. People are giving George Payton crap for his acquisitions. There was almost 20 acquisitions made, and you can really only point to a couple that were worth it. Burton and maybe Powers as he's starting to come along. The rest of them haven't done anything, and that's a Sean Payton. That's on Sean Payton, not George Payton.
Yep.
So
it's ironic too that they share. It's ironic that they share the same mistakes, different players, and same last name spelled differently.
Yeah.
Because they both, I mean, right? They both bought their own sets of groceries, and now they're going bad. You can't make anything with it. I mean, something doesn't taste right. They both deserve their share of the blame. And here we are, Tom. I feel silly here. I really do. And Randy's coming in saying, look, this is every department of a revolving door. Things are bad. String guys coming in here agreeing. Stupid decisions by management. Fans are going from angry to apathetic, if not checking out altogether. Tom, I came on these airwaves last Wednesday and said that on Friday, 48 hours, on Friday, 48 hours after our show, 24 hours after the Thursday night contest, someone would have lost their job. Either that would have been Vance Joseph or George Payton. And yet both men still, last time I checked, right, 6:30 Mountain here in the Mile High City on 10/18, still employed by the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson, still the starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos. And how long does Russell Wilson have left in the city of Denver? That is one of the biggest questions that is circulating all over the Rocky Mountain Mile High region. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com. Chad Jensen has an article up, Tom, where they're talking about, they being some ESPN experts, the Broncos potentially benching Russell Wilson. I saw that some quarterbacks out there in the league are starting to get banged up, starting to get injured. I asked the question today on Twitter at Luke Patterson LP. Do the Broncos move on from Russell Wilson? Do they try to get a potential suitor? And every time I ask these questions, Tom, I am told at nauseum, Luke, you don't know what you're talking about. The Russell Wilson contract is guaranteed. It's locked in. Nobody is going to take Russell Wilson's contract. Tom, I ask you today, Wednesday night, MHI, October 18th, can the Broncos feasibly move on from Russell Wilson?
Well, yeah, they could, but they're going to eat a lot of dead cap. That's the problem. There's so much guaranteed money. There's a lot of bonus money that's all going to get accelerated into this salary cap if they try and trade him. This actual salary that they would be trading for isn't horrible. It was all of the guaranteed money and the bonuses that the Broncos are going to have to pay for. But here's the thing. This is what I've been saying. If they are going to move on from Russell Wilson at any point this year or next year, they should do it earlier and just get it over with. Don't prolong the issue, right? Get that cap hit, take it, then move on. If Russell Wilson is in their plans over the next 3 years, fine. But if not, if you're going to just go ahead and think about trading him next year or cut him before the 2025 season, try and get rid of it now, because you're going to need to take that cap hit. The reason I say that, you bring in a young quarterback. The reason why you want a rookie quarterback is you can build a team around him while his salary is low. But if you're going to hold on to Russell Wilson, you're going to have a huge amount of money stuck into the quarterback position over the next couple of years. So it doesn't make any sense. That's my problem, right? So rip the Band-Aid off. The thing that I know people are upset because he had a bad game. Russell Wilson, I mean, he's playing back to where he was playing in Seattle, around his, his average in Seattle. He's playing good, playing well. The team is not very good. He can't raise the entire team up by himself. But if you have a team around him, he can be a very valuable quarterback. So for me, it's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to completely rebuild the team, or are you going to try to rebuild the team but stick with Russell Wilson? That's the question you have to ask. If Russell Wilson is not in the future, then you got to try and get rid of him now. And it's going to be very painful cap-wise to do it. But you need to do it early so that you can get started on that rookie contract sooner for a quarterback and build around him.
Extra, read all about it over at milehighhuddle.com. Chad Jensen has a piece about ESPN insiders Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano weighing in on the Russell Wilson conversation. Quote, Dan Graziano came in and said, I think the Broncos have to bite the bullet and cut him before the 2025 guarantees kick in next March. Designate him a post-June 1st cut. Take the $35.4 million in dead cap money, Tom. That's exactly what you were talking about. Again, that's $35.4 million in dead money for 2024, and then another $49 million in 2025. The plan would ultimately be to draft a quarterback. Phil McLaughlin, here we are, buddy, coming back in. What's up, Phil? Hopefully you're doing well, brother. Sorry about those Facebook stars, but we're going to show you love. You show us love every Wednesday. I asked the boys this question last night. Man, those boys, those BTB boys, we're going to see them here this Sunday, man. I'm excited. And, of course, I'm talking about the MHH meet and greet. We're building the Broncos, MHI, Dove Valley Deep Divers, Broncos for Breakfast, Legends, Orange and Blue View. I think I got us all. Right? I think I got every single show in there. Chad and Zach, right? The original MHH show. We're all going to be there. So Phil asked the fellas, Carl and Nick, last night, and he would love our opinion. Last year, we got Payton instead of Hackett. Where are we today? Tom?
Well, it all depends on when they actually went out to get him. I mean, they went and got Payton way late. He ended up stuck with Vance Joseph, and that's the problem. You got a bad defense, and
No. I'm not going to let you do that. He did not end up stuck with Vance Joseph. He chose Vance Joseph, Tom. I'm facetious, right? Because I have to grasp at straws. I have to yell at Tom because he's all I can yell at right now. The Broncos don't want to hear it. No, that's just it, man. And Tom, I wanted to pick your brain on this real quick. The Rex Ryan social media stuff that's going on right now. There are reports out there suggesting, you can read about that over at milehighhuddle.com too, Phil. I'm sure you did. The Nathaniel Hackett thing, I'm tired of talking about Nathaniel Hackett. He's there to make Aaron Rodgers laugh, all right? Talk to me when he's a head coach again and let me know how he does. It's just laughable to me. But, Tom, I digress. This whole Broncos dysfunction palooza, I mean, how do we get out of this? How do the Broncos get out of this? Is it as simple as just trading things away? Is it as simple as just firing guys? I mean, Rex Ryan is supposed to come in here as the defensive coordinator, according to reports. He's the next guy. And I'll be honest, everything that I'm asking, everything that I'm hearing out of that building, that's baloney. And guys are putting out there on social media saying this is baloney. And the reason I believe that the Rex Ryan storyline to Denver is baloney is because Sean Payton does not like his business out in public. He does not want people knowing what his next move will be. Maybe that's the reason Vance is here, Tom. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a bunch of gum flapping from my perspective when you talk about Rex Ryan coming to Denver. It's not going to happen. I mean, if they're gonna make a move, they're gonna probably stick with somebody in house, and maybe next year they can sweet talk Rex Ryan. I'll tell you this though, putting players in the right position is the coach's job, and Vance Joseph has not done that well. So there's something to be said from coaching. But if you want to turn this thing around, and I said this a few days ago, there's about 6, maybe 7 players over the next 2 years that you keep and build around. And the rest has got to turn over. The reason I say that, and I've said this for the last month, other people have seemed to jump onto the bandwagon. There are the starters. When I did the research on it, there was only 5 starters on this team who had a winning record during their time in the NFL. You've got to purge the losing mentality somehow. And you got to get what you can for those players so that you can bring somebody else in. If you want to change the culture, there's players that have known nothing but losing. Now, I'm not saying that they can't turn around and be better players, but that's a culture that needs to be purged. It has to be. And the way you do that is you trade some of the players away, get something for them, bring in different vets, bring in young rookies, bring in young players, and keep the core players that you really think you can build this team around. And I identified them in a tweet, but that's really how you do it. It's not a Rex Ryan that's going to come in and fix it. It's getting people who know how to win and can hold people accountable. I don't see any accountability from the leaders on this team. They're leaders in their own way, but they're not the right leaders for this team to turn it around.
I agree 100%. Oh, y'all stop stealing my boy's work at Thomas Hall NFL. I see you guys on Twitter. Seriously, Tom, you be saying some stuff 3 weeks ago that people are just now grabbing onto it. Oh, hey, per source. Don't follow any of that bull junk. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com. Stay tuned into Thomas's social media at Thomas Hall NFL. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP, and Scott as well at Scout Kennedy. David coming in again, man. Thanks for all the support, David. Looking forward to seeing you this Sunday at the MHH meet and greet as your Denver Broncos take on the Green Packers. Again, that's 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Lot E as in Echo. We can't wait to see you. Look for the big MHH blue tent and MHH flags. Russell Wilson's washed. The end. And David, I'm not going to push back against that too much. I would change the word washed to done. He's done. His time in Denver is done. That was one of my biggest takeaways in the Chiefs. He's dudded. He's dudded out in Denver. That's just where we're at. That's not to say you can't win games with Russell Wilson, but you mentioned it earlier, Tom. Circumstances need to be as close to ideal as they can for Russell Wilson to have success at this point in his career. And you know the crazy thing about it, and I almost just cursed, Jerry Jeudy, he's the same way. He needs things to be ideal for success. And life as you know it, Broncos country, is less than ideal, especially here in the Mile High City. Naj coming in again, man. Huge support. Another $20 super. Thank you so much. Is trading Jerry Jeudy a foregone conclusion? I, for one, want to see these guys play to their strengths. Jerry Jeudy has shown he can be a playmaker, as has Cortland Sutton, etc. I get everyone says sell everybody, but we've been selling and are still much worse. Naj, I love you, man, because you're level-headed. You're a lot like Tom, right? You guys like to sit back. You like to analyze and think with your heads instead of your hearts. This is really hard for me, Naj, because I actually had Jerry Jeudy graded as my number 1 wide receiver. I was wrong. I'm always poking fun of people, all right, for picking that Caleb Farley over Pat Surtain and people saying Micah Parsons wasn't going to work with character issues and all that. I love to make fun of people when they're wrong. Please come at me because I was wrong. I was wrong about Drew Lock. I was wrong about Trevor Siemian. And I was wrong, Naj, about Jerry Jeudy. I get that the man has talent. I get that he has quick feet. Is he a football player? I have a hard time with that right now. I've seen the man tap out looking to get subbed. I've seen the man popping off and acting bizarre and out of control like the last few weeks. And that's another thing, Sean Payton, right? Like if you want to let Jerry Jeudy pop off, then let him pop off. But if you care about these guys, then you need to care about him a little bit. I'm not saying you need to be Coach Prime and be a father figure in college football and bring that aspect in the NFL, but I'd be asking him, Jerry, you okay? Like, are we good? Like, everything good with you? Like, what can we do too to make things a little bit better? Naj, I struggle with this one, man. I agree with Steve Smith Sr. He's a Jag. He's just another guy for me right now. So many more receivers in that draft class, the same draft class as Jerry Jeudy, have done way more with less. And that's what drives me crazy. Jerry Jeudy has yet to score double-digit touchdowns in his NFL career. 46 games, and he's sitting with 9 touchdowns and 2,500 yards, Tom. That's unacceptable. I want his ass out of Denver.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this is my philosophy on wide receivers, and I know I'm going to get a bunch of crap for it, especially if you have an elite quarterback. You can rotate through draft. Just let these, unless they are obvious future Hall of Fame wide receivers, you can bring in a new wide receiver every couple of years. Second round, just get him. Let the next guy, let that future free agent walk, just because most of them are just guys out there who are talented, but they're not. A wide receiver to be great in this league has to have a different mentality. I mean, you to go out there and compete against defenses, and be really good, you have to have it upstairs, right? You have to have that mentality upstairs as a wide receiver, just like Steve Smith, Calvin Johnson, Jerry Rice, Rod Smith. I mean, you can't get by on just athletics in the NFL. You can be really athletic, as we can see. Jerry Jeudy is very athletic. He just doesn't have it. I'm from my perspective, go out there and draft another wide receiver in the second round, see what happens. Just rotate through. I think Jerry Jeudy's gone because he doesn't want to be here anymore. That's the biggest reason. You can tell he doesn't want to be in the Mile High City. Then he's not going to be performing. It doesn't matter what you say or what you do for him. He's not going to turn it around. He's already out the door. Sutton, on the other hand, I think really does want to be here. And, I've seen him take some plays off, but he made an incredible catch out there against the Chiefs. It looks like he's still trying, right? So, but I still think both of them
trying to. Did you see what the Good Morning Football guys said? I'm going to steal their line. He was like, he is trying. He's trying to get traded away and show another team that, like, hey, come get me. Sure. I can do freaky catches. And you're right, Tom. I mean, like, it's easy for me to sit here and get after Cortland too, because Cortland's had a bad season, folks. He's had a lot of bonehead mistakes as a veteran player, as a team captain, right? But the man is trying. He isn't quitting. He's quit in games. Every player has, for the most part. Unless you're a rookie, unless you're a small little guy rookie that's carrying this team on your back, like, I don't know, Jaleel McLaughlin, Marvin Mims. I mean, these are guys that you need to start building your team around. And you're exactly right. They found Marvin Mims where? The second round. You were just talking about, look, unless he's a Hall of Fame receiver, I was telling people, look, I think Jerry Jeudy's a generational talent, a wide receiver. I was wrong, folks, and a lot of other folks were, and I'm going to be wrong some more. It's tough to evaluate talent and figure out how it's going to transition from college into the NFL. And the dirty thing about the NFL, the dirty little word, is fit. Do players fit? Does Jerry Jeudy fit in Denver? Does Jerry Jeudy fit with Sean Payton? That's what William Hayes is asking here, and I wanted to get to Will. He's saying Sean Payton needs to walk up and ask Jerry Jeudy if he wants to be here. If he doesn't, let him go. William, here's what I would say. Sean Payton doesn't need to walk up to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy should walk up to Sean Payton. Sean Payton has a Super Bowl ring. Sean Payton has pelts on the wall. Sean Payton is the boss. If you don't want your job anymore, you know what you do? You quit. You put in your 2-week notice, you write your resignation letter, and you quit. That's what Jerry Jeudy should do. He should have his NFL agent go into Sean Payton's office or give him a phone call and demand a trade. Period. And why he's not doing it, I think, is very telling as well. Maybe you're not as sought after as you think you would be, Jerry Jeudy. We've heard about Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton getting these trade phone calls since last spring, since last winter, and yet not one team has bit. And you can't tell me It's because the Broncos have their heels dug in and just, we got to have Jerry Jeudy. We're not letting him go. They're fielding phone calls on much better players than Jerry freaking Jeudy, folks. I'm telling you right now. Why this man is getting a pass for something he has never done in this league is beyond me, Tom. And I can appreciate Cortland Sutton, but look, sometimes a change of scenery, it does wonders. And I hear you, Broncos country. They're coming after me too earlier today, and they're like, look, man, Frank Clark, where's he going to land? Randy Gregory, did you see his performance? You know, and look, it's all about fit, right? Kyle Shanahan realized that his staff, his team at that point in their career, who made the best football team in the league right now, the San Francisco 49ers. And Brock Purdy will be fine, folks. He will be fine. Scott and I have seen him at the Shrine game. I mean, it's cool stuff when you get to see these players that you got to scout. But look, Tom, I'm frustrated. Broncos country's frustrated. And if I'm going to be honest, if the meet and greet wasn't here on Sunday, if I was not a staff writer at MHH, I'd have a real hard time getting up for this game against the Green Bay Packers home in Denver.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And that's just the thing, though. And I called this before anyone else did about Randy Gregory. I said, if he goes to a contender and, he actually plays, he'll make impact plays for them because he was not motivated here. He's motivated somewhere else because they're winning. And it's hard for me to hold it against some of these players, right? Because the Broncos have been terrible for a long time, haven't won. But at the same time, the players are the ones that should be out there trying to win, right? Like they're the ones that are responsible for it. So, if you're just tired of losing, well, that's your fault. But Gregory's going to go out and he's going to have an impact. He already had a sack. He didn't have anything. He didn't do anything while he was at the Mile High City this year. So, but yeah, he's going to make an impact. You put Jerry Jeudy on another team, he probably is going to make an impact because he's a pretty good player if he really wants to play. That's the thing. You take some of these guys and you put them in another team, they might be pretty good. Only because they have a different mentality now. They're ready to go out there and play for a winner. So that's the problem. And that's why I say you got to purge this team and start over for the most part, right? You keep some of the core players and you start over and you get these players off to where they want to be. And you bring people in who really want to be here and play here and win here.
Yeah, exactly. You got to love it, right? And I get not every player, this is their destination, right? Not everyone's Caleb, right? USC is just, I just need to say his name. Caleb, number one quarterback of the draft, right? Caleb. Everybody's waiting for Caleb. I'm not waiting for Caleb. We have so much more football to go on, and there are many more options than just one quarterback. And I see people asking about May in the comments as well. And we'll get to all that. Because do not forget, it's interesting, Tom, all the podcast hosts, not only are we podcast hosts, but we're staff writers and we have our weekly responsibilities. We're also NFL draft analysts too. So come say hello to all of us. We could talk draft, we could talk Broncos, we could talk NFL, we could talk life. It doesn't matter. Come say hello to us this Sunday at the MHH meet and greet. Michaela's going to be there with Cooper. That'll be cool. We got to meet Michaela and Cooper, two of our friends of the show over at training camp, Tom. And just in this show, I'm counting at least 4 to 5 folks. We have Naj, Gary, David, Michaela, all sounding off on this Wednesday night, saying they are coming this Sunday into Denver for the MHH meet and greet, man. That's what I'm looking forward to. And it's interesting whenever Green Bay and the Broncos square off, right? Because there's a history there. Green Bay and Denver. And I don't want to step on your toes for Friday morning, but I've fell in love with Broncos football at the height of Packers and Broncos, right? I mean, We're talking Super Bowl. We're talking Brett Favre. We're talking Mike Holmgren, right? We're talking the Minister of Defense. I mean, like, these are some names and history that I get goosebumps talking about. And Tom, you're the history buff here at MHH. Check out Legends every Friday morning, Broncos country, because it really is a treat. This game should matter to the fan base, and I hope it does, not just because we're going to be there in full force on Sunday, but because it truly is a week at a time, and you need to evaluate young guys. Tom, when is Riley Moss going to get into the game? Can we see him? Can we see some of these young guys? Because Damari Mathis, look, we could sit here and beat a dead horse all day. It's what we do every Wednesday night. It's the Denver Broncos that we cover. What are we doing with a Damari Mathis? Can we get Riley Moss in the game? Is he healthy enough to play? Can we see what some of these young bucks can do? I mean, this is where we're at, Tom. This is where you can find some young players, because I remember being at a New Year's Eve football game when a rookie quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs debuted. His name was Pat Mahomes. Garbage time, shouldn't have been playing, and you finally saw something in this kid. That's where these special moments are born. They can be born at any time, any place, maybe even this Sunday. I want to see a different player show up.
Well, the thing that boggles my mind, they went out and drafted JL Skinner. They made he didn't play much at all,
Scott and I
but they
saw
made
him at
sure
the
they kept him
Senior
on the
Bowl.
roster, and he's been inactive when they only had 2 friggin' safeties. Come on, put some young guys out there, see what they can do. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for to be 1 in 10 before this happens? I mean,
Right.
what is the problem with putting him out there to play? Either so he's that bad and you made a huge mistake by drafting him and putting him on the active roster, or you're making really bad roster decisions on active. And Sean Payton has, I said he's made very curious at best decisions on active game day roster, to say the least.
I would agree with that. And Tom, to further your point, I'm looking at the Denver Broncos practice report today, and Greg Dulcich, the hamstring, right? We're speculating he might be moved back to IR. The 2 starting safeties, Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson, they were limited. They're banged up. Justin's still dealing with a hip. Kareem is dealing with a neck. Shocker. He plays irresponsible, reckless brand of football. And while I can appreciate Kareem trying, man, I mean, like, he's also lost the game for the Broncos multiple times this year. I mean, if the starting safeties are banged up and limited in practice, Tom, we can't see the guys that we just absolutely had to have in the draft, or even the undrafted guys. Like, let's start calling practice squad players up. Let's see what you have. I just, it's so hard for me to see talent come and go on the waiver wire every single week, Tom. NFL teams are releasing players and other NFL teams are picking them up. Yet the Denver Broncos remain stagnant. You know what the Broncos do every week, Tom? They bring up Lil Jordan Humphrey. Hey, Lil Jordan Humphrey, we're going to release you this week. And then we're going to bring you back next week. And hey, Lil Jordan Humphrey, more touchdowns than Jerry Jeudy this season, more production than Jerry Jeudy, more impact than Jerry Jeudy this season. I mean, it drives me crazy, Tom, because I just want to see something different. I was thrilled for Riley Moss to get drafted here. I was thrilled. I'm texting my guy, Nick Kendall. Tell me about Riley Moss, right? Big Iowa guy. Man, I want to see him. And I don't know when we're going to. I don't know what Sean is waiting for, because the season isn't going anywhere. The Broncos are going nowhere fast. It's time to see what you have on your depth chart.
Well, I mean, you've got a ton of young guys out there. They're bringing up Tyler Lancaster. They're bringing up little Jordan Humphrey for game day. Why? We know, everybody knows what these folks are. Bring up the young guys. You've got Dulcich is out. Bring up Lucas Kroll. See what he can do. He was the darling of preseason, and everybody was upset that Albert O was gone. He had
Nate
just as good a
Atkins
preseason as Albert O. Bring him up. You know, see what you've got. Activate Palczewski off IR. I'm sure he's healed up by now. See what he can do at right tackle. Maybe you can move on from that crappy contract that you gave McGlinchey, because he is definitely not. Why not get Mims some more playing time? Don't give him 12 snaps. I mean, there's so many things that could be done right now that doesn't include trades, that they can evaluate this team for the rest of the season. And guess what? Maybe these young guys are more motivated and want to play better, and they actually will equate to wins because they're not winning with the veterans. That's the problem.
That is, that's one of the list of problems, Tom. We don't have enough minutes in this show to go through every list of the problems, but I wanted to ask you this because Joe brought up a good comment / question, and it's out there. Is Sean Payton doing this on purpose? Is he tanking? Is he okay with dragging his feet? Is he not giving his all? Is he purposely trying to lose games? Because I struggle with that. I struggle with that because what I've been told, I haven't been around Coach, full disclosure, and I'm not going to be one of those snakes on social media that lies and pretends that I am. I'm not. I'm not out there. I can only speculate, talk to people who are. I do have some friends in the building, and that's where we're at. That's my level of access. Based on what I know about Sean Payton, his pride and his ego matter a lot to him. And he's a family-based man. He's a faith-based man. But I cannot foresee Sean Payton saying, screw it. Let's throw caution to the wind. Let's see how bad we can truly be. He's not getting the job done, but it's hard for me to subscribe to the theory that the Broncos are tanking. What say you?
If he's tanking, I don't want him as the head coach. You got to have some pride. I know that people want to tank and get a high draft pick. This game has a lot of pride to it. And if if it was his master plan to come in and tank this year, then he probably didn't say all the stuff he said. So I scratched that off from again. There's no master plan that he came in to try and get Caleb Williams. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But if he is now tanking because he's already lost 5 games and he knows that's giving up, and I don't want him as the head coach. I want some pride.
But Tom, he called Caleb Williams a generational player. Doesn't that mean that he wants him? No, you don't want other teams to know that you don't want him. Maybe he does want him. Maybe he doesn't want him. You don't want to reveal what you do or you don't want. Even, 9 months, 7 months ahead of the draft. You don't need any of that. That's why the Rex Ryan thing is baloney, based on what I've heard. We don't know what this team's going to do on a daily basis. There is no way in hell that Sean Payton knows what he's going to do by season's end. I mean, it's getting late early around here, folks. And here we are, October 18th. The Broncos have 1 win, and they're winless at home. And I can't stand losing football games at home in the barn. I played for Dave Logan, voice of the Broncos. It was instilled in me at a high school level. You don't lose at home in the barn. You protect this house, right? Just like all the little Under Armour kids on the commercial we all love. Protect this house. Not at all. Man, the Packers are coming on Sunday. And Broncos country, we need you. This is a call to action because, Tom, you know as well as I do, man, those cheeseheads, they're going to be out and about. And I'm a little nervous that we're going to see more green and yellow than orange and blue.
Yeah, and that's a shame, and that's what happens when you lose. I mean, the problem is it's happened so quickly that we're in week 6 and we're already seeing tons of mock drafts from Broncos fans already. I mean, everybody's watching this team and looking at its ineptitude, right? So it's going to be very hard for people to want to spend their Sunday, their hard-earned money to go to a Denver Broncos game to watch them play the way they've played. They haven't even played very well. Not just losing, they have not played well in those losses. They've been embarrassed multiple times. Now, I still want to go watch the Broncos play live because it really is fun. I do enjoy it. And I'll tell you, every game I've been to live, the Broncos have won, except for one, and that was Super Bowl 48. But we'll forget about that. But regular season games.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Thanks a lot.
Regular season games, I'm undefeated. So I better go watch it. We'll see if we can get a win from the Packers.
Guys, come check out Tom, Scott, Nick, Carl, Eric, Lance, yours truly, Chad, and Zach this Sunday at the MHH meet and greet. Lot E is in Echo at 11 a.m. Mountain. Look for the big blue MHH tent and some MHH flags. We're going to be there up and through kickoff, I imagine. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be cool getting to meet some folks that we've been rapping with for years and just haven't had a chance to shake their hand. It'll be awesome to see some current friends that we met at training camp and see folks that are traveling out. Again, we've got guys and gals that are coming out for this one. I can't wait to meet everybody. Tom's hitting the road here really, really soon. And I can't wait to get Tom back in the Mile High City. We always have fun together. It's going to be cool, man. We've been talking about this for a long time. If anything, folks, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling frustrated, if you need to get out of the house, if you need a friend, if you want to talk, come party with us. That's what we're going to be doing this Sunday. You're not going to hear it enough from me. I'm going to be blowing it up at Luke Patterson LP. I want to see everybody out there at this meet and greet, and let's have fun, Tom, because as you know, there's a lot of dark days in this world right now here in 2023. And I never like to use this platform to get political, but if we can enjoy a couple hours on a Sunday afternoon with beautiful weather and it might be a tough conversation, okay, but in the grand scheme of things, it's friends and football. I'm here for it.
I'm with you, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Even if you don't spend the entire time with us, there's some great tailgates there. Denver, there's some folks out there that do great tailgates, wander around, see some stuff. It's all fun, man. It's all fun. But yeah, definitely come see us because, it's one thing to converse with you all on chat, but it's much better face-to-face. That's what I think anyway. So come out, talk to us, meet us. We would love to meet you. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to being out back in Denver, just hanging out with you and and having some fun and going to a football game.
It's going to be a lot of fun, folks. Again, this Sunday, 11 a.m. Parking lot E. I almost said Mountain E. E is in Echo. Broncos and Packers. They are going to get after it, and we're going to get after it as well. This has been a quick Wednesday. We appreciate everybody rocking with us on your Wednesday night. Every 6 p.m. Mountain, you can catch Thomas and I. If you didn't get enough Thomas, again, he'll be back Friday morning with Legends, and then him and Ron will take over on Saturday night. I've got some keys dropping this Friday. Thomas, you've got an article by the numbers dropping Friday as well, right?
Yeah, I didn't get it last week, but I'm going to do it this week. I just didn't have time. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that. I don't know if we're going to do a Saturday show.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? Because we're all going to be traveling, and we're all going to be, you guys are going to be Mile High City bound, and I can't wait to welcome y'all into the Mile High City Broncos country. We thank you guys for rocking with us. Head on over to Twitter, give Scott a follow at Scout Kennedy, Tom a follow at Thomas Hall NFL, yours truly a follow at Luke Patterson LP. That mothership is at Mile High Huddle. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com for all of your Broncos analysis and coverage. The thing that I love about Mile High Huddle, we don't charge you. We don't charge you subscription for our content. We don't charge you subscription for our podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, we appreciate you joining. Head on over to mhhmerch.com. It's not too late to get your swag on. We want to see all your MHI hats and T-shirts out there as well. MHH gear, Broncos for breakfast, building the Broncos, Dove Valley Deep Dive. Everybody, man, we have a lot of cool gear over at mhhmerch.com. Broncos country, here we go. Meet and greet. This is the way.
This is the way.